It's 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. Dave Lawrence here, and I am thrilled to get some time with our latest visitor to the island, and he's performing for us, and we're very lucky because we don't get that much action out here. And he brought his solo band this time, but maybe next time he's going to come with his other group, the Allman Brothers Band. It's guitarist Derek Trucks. How are you, bro?
Good, man. How are you doing?
You spent about, like a week before the tour began out here enjoying yourself? Where were you? What have you done so far in Hawaii?
We hung in Maui for about a week, so we did almost everything we could on that island. We didn't make it up to the crater, but we did the highway to Hana and everything else, so we had a great time.
And you spent about a week there?
Yeah, we spent a week.
And you joined the Brothers in 99, correct?
99, June, I think.
All right, so you were on board from the summer tour of 99 on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you, I had Warren Haynes on the show this same week, so I had both you guys on the show, which was a kind of a cool thing for me. And it got me thinking, is he ever provide like a mentor sort of role? What is his role? Has it changed over time, and what is it really?
You know, I think with me and him, it almost is more of even though there's an age difference, it's almost contemporaries. I think Jimmy Herring was maybe more of a mentor personally for me growing up, just being around the Aquarium Rescue Unit early on and listening to that scene, and just being as a friend and, growing with him. I think with me and Warren, it's been more of a kind of a growth. We weren't playing together, but I think the growth was maybe at the same time. I think, he got a little bit of a head start. He was touring with him in '89, but, I don't think of him maybe in that light.
Yeah, he was like right after the box set, basically. It was like the summer of '89. I remember when they rolled that tour out. I just sort of look at it like in the evolution of your career, and I throw back to another time I remember watching you. It was, I believe, the summer of '93, last show on the summer tour, and several children of different Allman or Allman-related people were out there, and it was like you with many other people. And Dave, it was when Dave Grissom was filling in. Do you recall that?
I don't know if I remember that show. Where was that?
That was at the Tweeter Center.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember sitting with him many times. It was a lot of incarnations of that group when Dickie would go AWOL.
Yeah, so. This was one of those times, and it was the time Zakk Wylde from Ozzy Osbourne's band. If that adds a little bit more context to it.
I remember that story. He got booted real quick.
Yeah, he just did one show, a lot of spitting in the air and stuff, and then that was done. But what's your my question is really, as I think about Warren and the way you interact with him, do you still know those people, like Elijah Blue? Are you close with him?
No, I only met him maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't really know what he's up to. I mean, Dwayne Betts we've hung out with a little bit more, so I would say we know him more as a friend and a fellow musician. But Elijah, I met him at Greg's house a few times, but not too familiar with him.
And that night, like he was on stage. That's why I remember, because he had like his blue hair or whatever when he came out there. Do you remember it?
No, I probably got up and played and then was out of there when that was going on.
It was One Way Street. That was the jam. It was one way out. It was at the end of the night.
Gotcha. Elijah got up for that?
It was Elijah. It was all kids taking roles. It was like Elijah, and was Seth Betts? Do you remember?
It's probably Seth Trucks and Barry Jr. So
on drums, who would have been on drums named Seth?
Trucks. That's Butch's son.
Okay. Yeah, that's who it was. And we were talking about that earlier, and I couldn't get that.
I don't think I was on stage for that one.
So you weren't?
Oh, no.
It was all the kids and not you.
Yeah, I would probably run from that usually.
From something like that, you wouldn't want to do that.
If there's more than 2 on stage, I'm out.
and so you've never jammed with, who have you jammed with of the other Allman kids?
All of them, but Elijah, but all like just 2 of us at a time. I don't ever remember the whole group on stage, but I know that went down a few times.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sight to see. I mean, it was a very strange thing, and it was definitely the time with Dave Grissom, because I remember it was the very last show, and the thing with Zakk Wylde had happened just days before, and I could have just sworn that you were out there. I guess I just assumed it because I had seen you just years before on that Colonel Bruce thing.
Yeah, just association. I've been placed on a lot of stages I haven't been on. People ask me about shows all the time, like, no, I was...
Like what? What would be the most memorable one?
Well, it's usually Allman Brothers gigs like that. We're like, I saw you play with him there in '92. I was like, no, I was probably in school or something. So, a lot of people, when they would see when they think back and see a young kid on stage playing with them, they place me there just because it's a name they associate with it. So
Did you ever think that you were kind of, this was all forced on you and you never had a choice? Like, music was so around you, and you were so, encapsulated by it. It was almost like your destiny to end up doing what you're doing. That doesn't mean you would be successful at it, but you would pursue it as a career, and you have found success at it. How's that when I run it by you?
I was really lucky to have parents that were supportive but not pushy. I don't think they had a dream to have a child on the road. My father had seen what his brother Butch had gone through with the Allman brothers, and I know that's not what he wanted for his family. So it was definitely not forced on me. I was lucky to have people that have a family that was supportive, but they weren't living their rock and roll dream through me. So I saw quite a few young kids growing up that went through that, where you would see the stage moms. They would get off stage, they'd be like, "You got to interact with the crowd more. You got to put on the wireless. You got to walk around the crowd." And I would get off, and that would be the end of he would get me to the gig, and then after that it was hands off.
So you felt more, the reason this all happened was because you wanted to do it. I mean, because it's just an unusual situation. Because I was talking with someone the other night, and they were like, "Man, 11 years old, he was on tour. Are you sure he was on tour and not just doing one show?" I was like, "Guy said he was on tour, So it's an unusual kind of thing." And so it does put you in that league of people where they started something at an early age, but more than just starting at an early age, you were also the child, or you were part of a circle where there was all this music around you and other young people doing it who were children of those people.
Yeah, I wasn't around the Allman Brothers scene at all until we really started touring hard with this band. So it wasn't as close of an association as people think. I was doing just gigs with local blues bands and touring with them, and I would run into those guys every once in a while, but it wasn't that close of a musical family in the beginning.
So you developed all that stuff at an early age, independent of the brothers. I mean, that's I guess even more remarkable. But then like the gig where you did the tour with Colonel Bruce, that was the first time I ever saw you. You were like, it was the spring of 1991. How old were you?
Let's see, 91, I was probably 12, 13. That's when we started gigging with Bruce. So
I hear you keep meticulous details on all the shows that you've done.
Not all the time. They're starting to wash together. Now it's just like 9 to 12, and then 12 to 16, and then 16 till now. It's just different periods now. The Colonel keeps pretty good details, though. He can tell you when you were born.
But like, how did that come to be that you were out there on the road performing night after night, opening for him?
Well, the first show we did with him was in the Cat's Cradle in Chapel Hill, and after that we just started touring. It was a good combination. I think there's a lot of chemistry between his band and me and some of the guys. So we just became really close friends. He stays in touch with everyone in the band. He probably calls somebody in the band once a day. He likes to keep track. He's like he's almost like the farm team for all the jam bands out there. He kind of gets everyone and molds them and then sends them on their way. He doesn't want to be too big. He likes staying under the radar. So
yeah, well, Jimmy and O'Teal certainly provide that. So with you being the earlier part of your career being separate from the brothers like that, then when was the first time that you actually remember going out on stage and doing something with the brothers?
It was pretty early. When they were recording their first record, 7 Turns, the first one back, they came out and set in with our band in a club in Miami. So I was probably 11 years old then, and then I probably set in with them for the first time at about 12.
You were doing a club show in Miami, and who came and sat in with you?
I think it was. That's
Greg. Cool.
Yeah, it was Greg Warren and Butch. So.
Greg Warren and Butch. So here, say it one more time.
It was Greg Warren and Butch. They came out. It was just a small club on South Beach.
And they played like they were introduced as the Allman Brothers band, guys from the Brothers. I mean, and that must have blown the crowd away.
Yeah, they were pretty freaked out. I'm sure they were really wasted. South Beach is a crazy scene, but at 11, you're just kind of oblivious to all of it. You're just doing your thing.
Was it your gig, or you were opening for ARU?
No, it was just our gig. We probably did a dozen or 2 shows with ARU. It wasn't that constant.
Okay, so I just happened to see one of the dozen.
Yeah, there was only a few. I guess the Paradise was one of the shows.
And have you been in the Paradise since then with your own band?
Oh yeah, we played it quite a few times. We stole their sound man. He's still on the road with us.
What's his name?
Marty Wall. He was in Boston for a long time.
Okay, yeah. Probably know his face. Yeah, the Dice. I lived right around the corner from the Dice.
That's a crazy room, man.
It's gone through a lot of evolutions, too. They've changed it quite a bit.
Yeah, they had the Drew Bledsoe incident and
right, yeah. And
closed the doors. And
at the Everclear thing, yeah, and they've closed it a few times. And you have another connection, really, to Boston. It's kind of strange that you're from, where are you from? You're from Jacksonville?
Yeah, Jacksonville, Florida.
And that's before you began your crazy life at 11 of not being around town much. You were raised there from when you were born.
Yeah, I'm still there. So.
And then that's what leads me to. So you ended up hooking up with a chick who's based out of Boston, Susan Tedeschi, or based out of the Norwell, Mass. Is that where she's from?
Yeah, that's where she's from.
And how did you end up getting together with her?
She was on the road opening for the Allman Brothers. I think we met in New Orleans. So she was on the road for a few months with the band.
An incredibly talented person who was like huge in Boston for like many years. She developed a real local following, and as a blues artist, and then all of a sudden exploded and has had so much happen. Have you done things musically with her?
Oh yeah, I mean she plays with us all the time, and we sit in with her group, and she recorded on our record, we recorded on her record. There's a lot of musical intermingling.
Like at home, do you guys sit around, like does it come up, like do you write songs together? Are you at that point? Or?
Well, right now we have a 1-year-old, so when we're home it's just chasing him around,
What's his name?
Charlie. There's not a lot of free time when we get home, We're on the road so much that kind of keeps us busy.
So you have a nanny or something chasing Charlie around?
Sometimes somebody comes out with us, but she's been a trooper. She's been handling most of us herself.
And so when you go out on the ABB tour, is she going to be out doing something this summer as well?
Yeah, she's been working a lot lately supporting her records. So we've been trying to get the schedules to mix, and I think during the Allman Brothers tour she'll probably come hang a little bit. And
so you just moved. She moved down there. She lives down in Florida then with you.
Yeah, that's where we live.
And you didn't think about migrating to Boston at all?
No way. Not a chance.
I like that answer. Yeah, well, we are in Honolulu, so you know what I think about that. And I'll wrap it up. Just a question or two about the summer tour that you have. The Allmans have always had so many great opening bands. I've been privileged to see. I remember when Haynes had his thing, and of course, one of my favorites is when Hot Tuna came out and opened for them. Who's out this summer?
I know Susan's doing maybe 4 or 5 shows. I think Carl Denson might be doing a few shows, and I think those are the ones I've heard so far.
Carl Denson's Tiny Universe?
Yeah, I think that's his group now.
And so there's not just one band, it'll be several different bands doing different legs or something?
Yeah, they usually switch it up a little bit. I think the Hot Tuna pairing was probably the longest running since I've been in the band, because we did a lot of shows with them.
You did another gig I saw one time, and the time you did, how many Phil shows did you do where you were paired with Jorma?
I maybe did 1 or 2 with Jorma.
I saw the one in New Hampshire.
That was the only one, actually.
Wow.
That was me, Warren, and Jorma, I think. Or was it just?
Was it? No, it was just you and.
Yeah, that's the only one we did together. I did 14 Phil shows. I think 2 of them were with the guys from Little Feat, 1 with Jorma, and then the rest were with Warren.
What was that like, getting to play with Jorma?
It was great, man. He's a great guy. He's one of those guys, when you see him, his presence is kind of intimidating, but he's just really a mellow, down-to-earth, pleasant guy to be around.
And any good Jorma stories real quick, because I know he's a very colorful character.
Yeah, probably not for the radio.
All right, we'll do those off mic. And finally, Derek, because you're a young guy, and I'm planning on being around for a long time, so I'm hoping that years later this will be an interesting answer. You've been in the music business in an unusual way. You're one of the only people I've gotten to talk to who's actually started performing when they were really a minor. And what is your long-term goal? You're in a band that has a lot. You have your own band, and then you are in the Allman Brothers. You have 2 bands. You have a strange pairing of things. Where does it go? Because the Brothers thing lasts for so long. How do you look at the future from right here as we get into the summer of 2003?
I mean, I definitely feel that this band and this unit and what this band is trying to do is obviously the long-term goal.
Talking about the Joyful Noise, your band.
Yeah, the Derek Trucks band
that you recorded the last record.
Yeah, and we're probably heading to the studio soon. But I feel that there's a huge void out there. There's not many working bands that are really trying to break new musical ground. It feels like everyone's kind of holding on and trying to make a career instead of really kind of leading the charge. I think it's been a while since there's been a real musical movement, and I think this band could definitely be at the center of it, or at least pushing it in some way. So, I think when we look back at things 10, 20 years from now, hopefully this band and what we're trying to do now and what we're attempting to do pretty soon will, be a huge part of maybe changing things a little bit for the better musically. I think there's a lot of slack right now. There's a lot of room for more music to to take charge and move forward. It's been a long time since anything's happened, so.
It is sort of stagnant in a lot of ways. So Joyful Noise and then Soul Serenade, that's the next one?
Yeah, I think that's August 5th. That's supposed to be coming out, and that was recorded right when Kofi joined the band. It was actually recorded before Joyful Noise, and it was in limbo for a while with old record company things, but we got that freed up, and it's a really strong record. I think as far as a complete record, a complete feeling, it's definitely the best record we've done as a group. So.
Is that weird having like two bands with two different brothers, Kofi Burbridge in one, O'Teal in the other? I mean, that's another thing that's sort of unusual.
Well, I think music is definitely something that's passed down a lot of times, and musical families are a pretty common thing. It's when it's in the household and when kids grow up hearing music from an early age, it's a lot easier to catch on. And I definitely know from being around O'Teal and Kofi's parents that they were listening to some pretty serious music from an early age. So once it's in your brain, it's easier to get it out and play it.
What's a website people can have to go to if they're curious?
I think it's DerekTrucksBand.com or DerekTrucks.com somewhere.
I love it, man.
Not with the technology.
That's great. That's a great answer. Well, and also, of course, he's on Hitting the Note as well, which is now out. Is there any plans for like a live thing? Because you did Peeking at the Beacon. You're on that? Yeah,
we just recorded. We recorded all the nights of this last Beacon run, but we did 2 nights for DVD and 2 nights for a live record. So I think something will be coming out of that pretty soon.
You brought in like a mobile unit just to do? Yeah,
the hardcore recording. They did the 10 cameras for 2 nights and the whole thing.
Nice. Okay. Well, we'll be looking forward for that. And Hitting the Note is the latest from the brothers. 105.9 The Big Kahuna. Thanks you, Derek Trucks.
Thank you, man.